The secret disk of red bricks. The sun slowly set over Huashan Creative Park. Warm, orange light made the red brick walls glow. The old bricks looked like they were touched by time. Every line on them hid an untold story. The tall chimney stood quietly like a guardian. It watched the city change. It watched people come and go. The wind moved through the alleys. It carried the smell of grass. It also carried whispers from far away. If you put your ear to the wall, you might hear history saying, "Many things happened here." But lately, these memories seemed to have been scattered. Some were gone. Some were blurry. Some were hidden in time. The time has become different.
Children laughed and ran into the park. They carried small backpacks. They talked loudly about which exhibition to see next. The red brick ground was warm in the sun. Each step made a soft echo. Xiaohan walked around and looked everywhere. He looked like he was hunting for treasure. Xiaoyu held the notebook and wrote as she walked. She looked very serious. Suddenly, a faint golden light shone from a crack in the ground. Xiaohan stopped immediately.
"What is that shining thing?"
he asked. He crouched lower. His eyes were wide open. Xiaoyu bent down too. She frowned.
"I don't know. It's so strange."
She reached out her hand but did not touch it. She was a little scared. The faint light danced in the cracks, as if it were calling them.
The three of them brushed the leaves aside. They found a metal disc half buried in the ground. The disc had fine lines carved on it, like an old machine. In the center, there was a mark, 1914. Xiaoyu's eyes went wide.
"Wow, this looks like a prop from a movie."
The teacher stepped closer and looked carefully.
"This is not a normal object,"
she said in surprise.
"It seems to be some kind of mark from the past."
Xiaohan couldn't help himself. He grabbed the disc.
"Let me try turning it just for a second."
Before he finished speaking, his fingers had already given it a hard twist. Suddenly,
Zzz, zzz, zzz.
The disc lit up brightly, pulsing like a fast heartbeat. A strong light burst out. It felt like a magnet, pulling them into the center. Their feet left the ground. The air spun around them. Everything became blurry. The children held on tight to Teacher Yang's hand. Time seemed to crack open. They fell into a spinning whirlpool of light.
The bright light faded away. Suddenly, the air grew thick and sharp. The wind carried the smell of dirt and sweat, mixed with dry dust from freshly cut wood. They saw a busy and chaotic construction site. Piles of wooden logs looked like small hills. Far away, workers were building red brick walls. Xiaoyu's eyes were wide open. She looked at this strange but lively scene.
"Are they still building this place?"
Xiaohan pointed ahead and asked in surprise. The teacher looked around in shock.
"Oh my! Where are we now?"
Just then, a puff of white smoke rose into the air. It slowly formed into a tall, thin figure that looked just like a chimney. He looked at the children and made a whistling sound like a steam train. Whoosh!
"I am the chimney spirit of this place. Please help me collect the scattered time fragments and piece them together again."
The chimney spirit continued.
"I will take you back to 1914. This place was once a Japanese brewery. Please follow the flow of time and help me find the time fragments. If you fail, I may fade away, and Huashan will lose its memories.
Xiaoheng could hardly wait. He looked around like an explorer.
Something is glowing over there. Let's go check it out.
He shouted. The three of them ran across the muddy ground toward the light.
They followed the light into a warehouse. The room was filled with the smell of wood and wine. Old tools were scattered on the floor. A dusty notebook lay alone in a corner. Xiaoyu opened it gently. A shiny little fragment was hidden between the pages.
Could this be?
Asked Xiaoheng, his eyes wide open.
Pick it up!
The teacher said quickly. As soon as they touched it, golden light burst out again. A mysterious story seemed to be awakened.
The golden light faded. The air was filled with the rich smell of wine. It was not a construction site anymore. It was a modern factory. Giant metal machines rumbled loudly. Glass bottles moved in a line on a long belt. Xiaoyu took a deep breath.
It smells so good here.
The teacher said excitedly.
This is the 1930s. Back then, this was the most modern brewery in Taiwan. Ahead, a worker pushed a cart full of wooden crates. He was taking fresh wine to the warehouse. Suddenly, the cart tipped over. Clang! A glass bottle rolled to the side. Xiaoheng rushed over and picked it up.
Sir, your bottle rolled away.
He called. The worker stopped and wiped his sweat. He smiled and said,
Phew, luckily it didn't break, thank you.
As Xiaoheng handed the bottle back, a warm, golden light shone from inside it. The second time fragment was hidden right inside this freshly made bottle. It lay there quietly, as if waiting for them. The light flowed again and gently wrapped around them.
The cold wind blew. The three of them shivered and pulled their collars tight. Huashan seemed abandoned. The whole place felt bleak. Weeds pushed up from the ground and climbed over the old brick walls. The broken windows looked like tired eyes. Xiaoyu looked around at the empty, silent place.
Why is Huashan so quiet?
The teacher sighed softly.
The brewery stopped breaking. For a long time, Huashan was left empty.
Suddenly, the mysterious voice spoke again.
A fragment is hidden in the shadows of memory.
Xiaoheng listened and looked all around. Suddenly, he pointed at the corner.
Look, that's it.
The old brewery logo was on a crate in the corner. It flickered in the light. Once, twice, then slowly it formed into the third fragment.
As the fragment lit up, they were taken to the next era. The bright light faded. The three of them were greeted by brilliant colors and laughter everywhere. There was spirited graffiti on the walls. Artists were carrying props, paintbrushes, and lights. The whole place was filled with creativity and energy, as if the world had suddenly lit up.
It's so lively here. It's different from before. Look at all the paintings.
Xiaohe opened his eyes wide and looked around. The teacher smiled and nodded.
This is the beginning of the Huashan Creative Park. A group of artists found the sleeping Huashan.
Xiaoyu saw a spotlight shining in a corner. A tiny light jumped there.
Hey, that looks like the last time fragment.
They walked closer and picked up the final fragment.
The four fragments floated up from their palms, as if a hidden force had awakened them. The fragments moved closer, spinning and glowing like they were dancing. The light wove circles in the air. Slowly, it gathered into a whole time disk. Then, a warm orange light rose up from the disk. It slowly turned into a tall, thin figure of light. The top of the light twinkled, just like a tall chimney in the distance. Spoke in a gentle voice, like a soft breeze.
Thank you. I am the oldest chimney spirit in Huashan. I was listening so closely to the stories that I accidentally dropped the time fragments. You helped me restore Huashan's memories. Now it can continue telling new stories on its own.
Teacher, we did it!
Xiaoyu said with a smile, her eyes sparkling. Xiaohan jumped up with joy.
We finally found all the time fragments.
The light fell softly, like feathers. All the colors returned to the way they used to be. The three of them were standing in Huashan Creative Park again. They saw busy markets and exhibitions. Tourists were taking photos everywhere. Compared to the busy industrial days from the past, it felt like Huashan could finally breathe again.
Look! These exhibitions carry on the legacy of Huashan.
The teacher explained confidently. Xiaoyu looked up at the chimney. Her eyes were gentle.
It is still guarding history,
she said.
Night fell. The red brick walls of Huashan glowed under the soft yellow streetlights. The tall chimney stood in the dark night. It looked like a silent old guardian. A breeze blew over the grass. Deep in the grass, the time disc gave off its last faint light. The light slowly gathered into a warm, thin stream and rose up into the night sky. Finally, like a twinkling star, it merged into the tall chimney. The wind blew gently, carrying a smiling whisper.
History never disappears. It is just waiting to be seen.
Little by little, everyone who comes to Huashan adds new fragments to time, and the story continues.